CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon, welcome back. Today is Friday the 13th, January 13th, 2023. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. We will be closed on Monday in observance of the holiday. The markets will be open a half a day, but we're just going to take the holiday. So giving you a heads up there. Now, the first live broadcast that we do each trading day is from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern. That is our live training room, and that is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you've not yet taken your 1-week free trial, in a few minutes Michael will come on and he'll show you exactly how to do it. No credit card required. We're willing to invest 5 trading days of our time, energy, and resources in you so that you can make a well-informed and intelligent decision as to whether or not you have what it takes to actually become a trader. Now at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for the afternoon broadcast at 12 noon Eastern. The afternoon broadcast is open to the public. That's everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. It can be a phone, tablet, PC, Mac, or not picking. There are 2 different ways to join the afternoon broadcast. One a little better than the other, so I'll give you the better way first, and you only have to do this one time. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down to where it says afternoon broadcast, click the link, complete the 30-second registration form, and then every trading day going forward, you'll receive an email about an hour before the afternoon broadcast starts. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email and it will automatically log you into our platform. Now, if you do it that way, you have access to the question box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. The other way to join the afternoon broadcast is to simply point your browser to our YouTube channel, which is very easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. You already know the youtube.com part, so just /CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live each and every day on our YouTube channel, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,100 daily live broadcasts archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Also, if you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way for you to really get to know us. You have the 5-day trial, and so you'll hear everything we do. You'll see everything we do and hear everything we say during your trial. But using the YouTube channel, you can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, a year, 2 years. And what you'll find, now of course we don't expect you to watch every broadcast, just pick a few days at random, and you don't even have to listen to the whole broadcast. Just fast forward to the part where Michael's doing the recap of the live training room, and then fast forward to the part where I'm doing the recap of the Logic 247 alerts, the concierge trade alerts, and of course we take a big picture look at the markets each and every day to help you put into context why the market is doing what it's doing. This morning, as an example, I gave you the major support for the market. There's a post in the members only discussion group and also in the trial discussion group. There's a chart and it lists major support, major resistance, and things have unfolded pretty much how we expected. So, get to know who we are, not just today, but a year ago, 2 years ago, even more. You'll find a thread of continuity, a thread of connectivity that's woven through each and every daily broadcast. We're not the guys who have some new discovery, some new shiny object to buy every other week. Once you become a lifetime member, you'll have access to everything we do, everything we've ever done, and whatever we do in the future. But first, we're going to invest 5 days of our time, money, and resources in you before you have to pull out a credit card. Because we want you to make sure that you understand what we do and that you believe you have what it takes to actually become a trader. Let's open with a word of prayer. Our topic this week, and it will continue into next week, is pass it on. Pass what on? The good news. Our scripture today, Romans 1:16 through 17, I'll read from the Message translation. It's news I'm most proud to proclaim. This extraordinary message of God's powerful plan to rescue everyone who trusts Him, starting with Jews and then right on to everyone else. God's way of putting people right shows up in the acts of faith, confirming what Scripture has said all along. The person in right standing before God, by trusting Him, really lives. Again, that's Romans 1:16 and 17. Don't despise small beginnings. That can be the hardest thing to hear when you've just started something. It's pretty much a cliche, but if you pay attention, there are actually some big truths in this phrase. Those small starts are the very things that God uses to show what is truly possible. That's why when you become a member at CFRN, you first trade in the simulator until you put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. Only then should you think about trading for real money. And when you go live, you'll only go live with one contract. Once you've increased your account balance by $2,000, the blueprint will give you the green light to add a second contract. The blueprint will tell you when it's time to add number 3, number 4, number 5, number 10. But you only add one at a time, and you only add with profit you earned in the market. That's how you build a successful trading business. Now, when we are just starting out in our faith, it can be overwhelming to share what we believe with others. So many hesitations can come to mind. Maybe it's feeling like we aren't the best people or don't know what to say. But every time we try, we get a little more comfortable with sharing our faith. Over this coming week, I want you to see how you can apply this idea. In moments when you feel like your faith, abilities, or voice are too small to be important, remind yourself God can take what you think is insignificant and change the world with it. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, I thank you for calling me to yourself and making me your child through what Jesus did for me on the cross. In him, I am now able to be called righteous, not for anything I've done, but because of his sacrifice. You have called us as believers to go into the world and make disciples of every nation. I ask that you give us courage and boldness to share your truth and your gospel with everyone around us, whether it's online or with another person face to face. Lord, we pray that those you place in our path would see your great love for them in the truth that we share. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. All right, let me give you the numbers from around the world. I'm going to start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently the Dow's up 13 points, the Nasdaq's down 22, S&P 500 is down 9, and the Russell 2000 is basically unchanged on the session. In the commodity basket, crude oil up $1.12, trading 79.51 last. That's a gain of 1.5%. Gold up $15.60, trading 19.1450 last. That's a gain of almost 1%. Silver up 23 cents, trading 24.23 last, a gain of almost 1%. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei down 330 points, 1.25%. The Shanghai rose 31 points, which for the Shanghai is a gain of over 1%. And the Hang Seng added 224 points, which is a little over 1%. In the European markets at the close, FTSE posted a gain of 50 points. The DAX rose 28 points. The CAC rose 47. So that gave us a mixed day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And it is a mixed Radio Friday here in the US of A. Now, as futures traders, we like to see the indices all on the same side of the street. All red, all green. It doesn't matter, because you can trade long, short again, all in the same hour if that's what the chart in front of you dictates. It's when the four major indices, the Dow, the Nasdaq, the S&P, and the Russell, when they're all green or all red, that's where you'll find some of your best high probability, low risk trade opportunities. However, when the indices are mixed as they are today, that's when you're going to find some sideways, choppy trade that could actually cause you to give back everything you earned over the course of the week. So it's really important to understand what the bigger picture is telling you so that you can go with the flow. All right, Michael, if you're ready.
I am ready. I'm here.
Okay, Michael.
I'm sorry, was I?
No,
Did I miss it?
no, you didn't miss
Okay.
anything. Michael's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room. Then I'll be back. We'll look at the Logic 247 alerts, the concierge trade alerts, and we'll take a big picture look at the markets. And we'll show you how we defined the low of the session and support. It's all right there in front of you. You just got to learn how to read the chart. Michael, take it away.
It sure is. Here we go. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 13th day of January 2023. All right, so if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on this right here. It's going to bring you to this page, right? On this page, anybody who's in here who was on the trial, who started the trial today or yesterday, you'll be sent the link to get into the room next week, okay? Click on that page and then you'll be fill out this little form here. Fill out this little form. You'll be sent all the information you need to get into the room. 5 consecutive business days. Just going to remind everyone that Monday is a holiday. We'll be meeting with some people on Monday, but we will not be having a room in the morning. The room will start on Tuesday. Okay. So that said, that's how you take the free trial. Now, if you signed up for the free trial this week, if anybody who is in here right now is signed up for the free trial for this week, you want to make sure you go here to the trading platforms on mytradingiq.com. Click on trading platforms, get that platform downloaded. Do that today. So you'll have it over the weekend. You'll have the trading platform with all the data and everything else to look at over the weekend. You can watch the trade rules here. Look at the trade rules. These are the rules for the trades that we do in the room in the morning, over and over again. Same rules all the time. And the videos, these are videos of me actually trading by those rules that were taken from various times last year. I know at some point these are going to be updated, but you can just do all that stuff, okay? You should do all that stuff. If you're on the trial, you should go through and do all this stuff. Downloading the trading platform is key. If you go to the trading platforms page and you start downloading the trading platform and it takes you more than 5 minutes to get that thing downloaded, get in touch with us, all right? Text me. You can text me at 617-943-3298. Text me at 617-943-3298. And we'll set up a meeting because this should not be a stumbling block for you. Getting the trading platform set up, it should be a simple process. And if you're running into issues with it, let me know. Okay. All right. Results today, guys. We didn't have a red day. We had a blue day. What that means is I got the goal early on and then I gave it back. We just didn't have a ton of opportunity today. And the crude oil just had my number today. I stopped out 3 times on crude. And that's pretty much the extent of what we're down today. So if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 13th day of January 2023, and we took 11 minutes. Well, first we were minus 30 on crude, we're plus 19 on gold, we're minus 9 on the ES. I didn't make any mistakes today. That's just how it panned out. I missed a couple of nice trades that would have got me back to positive, but that's just how it panned out today. In the time frame that I was given, if I kept trading, and I'll go over that in a few minutes, if I kept trading, I'd be positive right now. You can see there's a trade here and there's a trade here that would have got me positive. But I only have a 2-hour window to trade in. So I was minus 222.5 at the end of that 2-hour window. But this is the important part right here, guys. It took me 11 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. I was at 102.50 at that point. If I would have quit trading then, I would have been the day positive, the morning session positive. And I will end the day positive. I'm not, there's no concern about that. It's just the morning session where I'm limited to 2 hours. I did not manage to end that positive today. But if I would have quit trading after 11 minutes, I would have. So down here, you can see so far this month, I've traded 80 minutes getting the goal. 80 minutes it took me to get the goal so far in all 9 days so far this month. And the gross out of those 80 minutes is $1,130 for 80 minutes worth of work. So $1,130 for an hour and a half of trading, that's pretty good money. That's the gross. The net, if you had a $5 commission, would be $1,010. If you had an $8 commission, it would be $938. So commission is usually somewhere in between there. So you can figure where you would be if you did everything just like I did, getting the goal for the day. Everything after that was all training and stuff. So, that's the way it is. That's what Dwayne was just saying. So let's get into the actual trades that I took. There weren't that many. There were only 12 on the gold. Right in here, we started off here. This is where we ended up getting our gold. We got 9 ticks profit on that one. Is where we got our goal. Then this is where I was saying that the context was up. Okay, we got 9 ticks profit on that, where we got our goal. Then we ended up with a break even there. I missed that beautiful trade right there. That alone could have just about gotten us back to green. We took this one here and went from 9 to 19. We got 10 more ticks there, and then we had a break even trade in here. Now in here, I didn't take this red off of red or this red off of red because the context was not down yet. Over here, the context had changed to down, or right in here actually changed to down. So I took that trade and ended up with a break even on it. Then it came over here and the context changed to up. And so right now you wouldn't have actually had to trade in here, but if you got a pullback right now, I'd be looking for it to get up to the high of the day. So that's the way gold was today. Now crude oil, this is the one that had my number. All right. The context was up here right now. It was bullish in the morning. Then we got this right here. It was red. You couldn't take that trade. The cycle was going down anyway. I took this red off of red here saying that the context would change by getting down below this level right here, when really I should have been looking at this level down here. But I took this one and it stopped me out. Actually, I got a break even on that one, but I took the one right after it and it stopped me out pretty much to the tick. And that's okay. You know, it stopped me out pretty much to the tick, and then it did what it should have done. So, you know, the green line got all the way down into the cycle, it dragged everything down, and it gave a follow-up short. Now this time, you know, we're definitely in the short context right here, but it stopped me out. I did everything right. It stopped me out. I got 2 stop outs in a row. So I was minus 20 on the crude right there. Turned around and moved up, changed the context back to up. So right in here, it was bullish. I took a long trade and I got taken out of break even right in here. I didn't end up getting any profit out of that. And in here, it had one more long trade. This was a red off a red. This was toward the end of the session. And this one stopped me out too. It did end up going up, but it didn't put in a higher swing. So it's kind of messed up right here. And then the context changed it down right after that. So during the break, there was one short trade right in here. That would have been a nice profitable trade. There were actually 2 in there. There was one right here that might have been a break even. And then another one right here that would have been profitable. Then it spun around and it still doesn't change the context back to up. So you really don't have a trade here for the long side. Okay. And in here right now, on the ES, we started out, context was down, then it changed to up. Our first trade in here on the ES, we picked up 1 tick. Then our next trade was right here. We had a break even. Then we had a stop out that put us at minus 9. See, there's just not a ton of opportunity all through here. The ES was just a mess today. Most of the markets were. There was a blue off a blue right here that I ended up missing. That would have been great to have. I knew Shailesh got that one, but I didn't. I saw it, but I saw it too late. We had another break even right here and another break even right here. Now, all those break evens went 4 ticks into profit, but I just waited for him to keep going. And you can see since then, there's been nothing right through here. It's really, the markets are just garbage right now. They really don't have a lot. They don't have a lot going on. So today is definitely one of those days where you want to quit as soon as you got your goal for the day. I know some of you guys that are in here right now are curious about what is going on with the trading view stuff. So I'll show you that really quick. I think here, let me just click off on that. So I did some more work on it last night. You can see down here. That's why I didn't want to do the demo today, because I had some ideas that I wanted to run through. But you can see, we'll just look at the ES, right? Just today on the ES. Back here. Okay, so what you're looking for is for the black line to be in the green and then take bounces off the BBC. So it's in the green right here, bounces off the BBC, worked out okay. Give you about 8 or 10 ticks, maybe 6 or 8 ticks on that one. And then it got all mixed up through here. See, the black line's getting out of the green, and then right here it's back in the green. This one right here would have been a stop out. Okay, as we keep going forward through here, it's back in the green. It was in the green, but then it went out of the green again. So now it's back in the green again. It's clearly in the green here. You could have taken that long right there, this long right here, this long right here. Then 10 o'clock came, the news came out. Then it was in the red. So that short right there, that short right there, that short right there. Then it got back in the red right over here, that short right there. This was a green, it got into the green right there. So you could have taken that, that would have stopped out. This short right here, it got back into the red. You could have taken that, gotten it right back. There, we're okay. And that was the first hour. So there were a lot more opportunities doing it just the bounces off the BBC when it's in the right place. There, and there, there. There, and there. And finally one right over here. Looks like it was kind of mixed up right in there, but you see how often the ribbon was flat. You don't really want to trade when the ribbon is flat like that. Okay. So there were a bunch of opportunities, and the thing that I had been doing right here last night, I had some creative genius came over me. And in here, the significant thing is when this is called the S4. When the S4 drops out of the oversold and it rises up out of the overbought, that's usually a significant spot for it. And so I highlighted that area when that happens, and I color coded the S4, so when it's going up and down, it's various colors. And you can see in here the context, the longer term context is outside of this. You see that? And the shorter term context is all inside the darker colors. So I made a few little changes in there, just to give you a bigger picture look at it, at what's going on. All right, nothing functional really changing, just a bigger picture kind of view of it. All right, so that was all that. Now go back here one more time, I guess, right? Didn't I already do this? I'll do this again. Anyway, today is the 13th day. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today's the 13th day of January 2023. We lost 30 ticks in crude. That was a big down day for me in crude. We made 19 ticks in gold, and we lost 9 on the ES. Put us at minus 222.5 on the morning session. Unusual. Anyway, today it took 11 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up 102.50, and we took a total of 12 trades. So on the month, we're at 37.90. That's over 9 trading days, averaging $421 per contract per 2-hour trading day. If you were to quit trading when you got your goal for the day, so far, you'd be at $1,130, and you would have had to trade 80 minutes. So an hour and a half, $1,130. Well, that's a little less than an hour and a half. And we've gotten our goal in 9 out of 9 days so far this year. And I don't know how many days it's been since our last red day. It's been well over a year since our last red day. Yeah, that would be an expense. So it would be after that. Okay. But talk to an accountant. I am not a tax professional in any way. But commissions are an expense. Okay. All right. So that is it, guys. Let me go back here and say how to take the free trial again. If you have not taken the free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com. Right here, sign up for free 5-day training. Now 9:30 to 11:30 Eastern time. Again, this is going to start on Tuesday next week. Okay. If anybody wants to meet with me on Monday, I'm taking appointments for Monday or meetings for Monday. If anybody wants to meet with me on Monday, the markets are open until 1, but we're not going to have the room open because that usually works out to be a really messy day. It's only open a half day like that. So the weekly trading zones, Dwayne will probably go over this again, but the weekly trading zones will not be delivered until Tuesday morning. Okay, Tuesday morning at 6:15 a.m. They're normally delivered Monday morning. And Dwayne will tell you his schedule for what he's going to be doing. Come in. But that's it. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready. Excellent.
All right, I can see it. Recap.
Today it took 11 minutes and 2 trades to get to 102.50.
Good job. My bell ran off, so.
Thank you. That's all right. That's all right. Thank you.
Where did Roscoe go?
I don't know. I've been used to listening to that for years, so I have to get a backup.
Yeah, it's on my desk here. Oh well. Anyway, good job.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let's do this, guys. I want you to look at this. This morning at 7:20 a.m. my time, which is 9:20 East Coast time, 10 minutes before the Wall Street session opened. Now futures trade around the clock. But right here it says ES at potential support, the daily step line. If price trades through the step line, then the next major support is at the 38% reverse fib at 39.43, then blue and climbing, then the daily BBC. Major resistance is at the high of the session, then the high of Thursday, then the high of December 15th, then the 50% reverse fib at 40.70. So when the bell rang on Wall Street, everyone who's following along on the discussion in the Telegram discussion group, you had everything you needed to know before the markets even opened. So when we go to the charts in a minute, you'll see what price has done since then. Remember, that was 10 minutes before the Wall Street opened. Now, Logic 247. As of 7 a.m. this morning, and there'll be another recap posted after the markets close today. At 7 a.m. this morning, we had issued a total of 100 alerts since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Logic 247 opens for business Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern and remains open around the clock until Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. Futures trade around the clock, and we have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. Okay? So of the 100 alerts issued, and there's been a lot more issued since then, and we've had a lot of the ones waiting triggered, so it's gonna probably look a lot better when the final recap is posted at the end of the day. But this is not bad. 17 never triggered. We were waiting on 9, so that gave us 74 actionable alerts at 7 a.m. Eastern, of which 13 or 18% would have been stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible based on market structure, in a very simple 3-step process that I teach all of our traders in their unlimited one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, we talked about this last night in the workshop, and so let me cover it again real quick. If you enter a trade and your plan is to only take 2 points out of the trade, well, you don't ever want to risk more than your potential goal. That's just bad math, bad science. So when an alert comes out, there is an entry price, an initial target price, which is designed to give you your goal for the day. But when you get into that trade, if you're planning to jump out as soon as you have your 2 points for the day, well, then you don't want to risk more than 2 points. If, when you study your 30-minute chart, you believe that the trade has the potential to go further, then you can risk more than 2 points. If you think it's going to go to the second target or the third target or the fifth target or the final trade 2 target, sometimes the final trade 2 target, might have $1,000 of potential profit, and you believe that price has the potential to go all the way to the final trade 2 target. You still don't want to risk more than $300, even if there's $1,000 of potential profit in a trade. You don't want to risk more than $300 per contract per trade, and the chart will tell you where the stop loss needs to go based on market structure. So if you've not taken the time to learn that, then if you're a passport holder, you have unlimited one-on-one mentoring sessions. Take advantage of the resources at your disposal. It's pretty simple. I thought I saw a Telegram channel, CFRN Boardroom, just flashed. Did I see it wrong? No. Michael and I and Valerie have our own channel. It's called the Boardroom. No problem. It only makes sense that staff would have a place where they can have conversations, not out in public. So, all right. So that was the logic alerts, the concierge trade alerts. right here. Last night the alerts came out at 6:10 p.m. Eastern. That 6 p.m. Eastern is the beginning of the Friday session. Even though it's still Thursday night in the U.S., that's when the Friday candle starts printing on the daily chart. It's the beginning of the Friday session. So a couple days this week I've been lagging behind, and it was 6:40, 6:50, and then one night I think it was like almost 8 o'clock. That's unusual. It's typically closer to what we have today at 6:10. Okay, there's two numbers issued for each market. We cover the same markets with the CTAs that we do with the logic alerts. So whatever market you trade, the first thing you should do when this report is published is make a note on your 30-minute chart of where price is. It's always going to be between these two numbers. If price gets above the 30-minute BBC and starts trending up towards 40.25, that's bullish. And so our strategy is going to look for opportunities to be long the market. On the other hand, if price gets below the 30-minute BBC and starts trending down towards 39.86, that's bearish. So our strategy will look for opportunities to be short the market. In either case, that's where you'll use Logic 247, where I've already detailed the trades for you, and everything you learn in the live training room every day to yourself. Find opportunities to be long or short the market. Also, after you make note on your 30-minute chart of where price is when the report is published, you should draw a line in the sand at 40.25, line in the sand at 39.86. These numbers are targets first, entries second. In other words, if price is below the BBC and trending down, here's your target. If price is above the BBC and trending up, there's your target. Once price trades above or below a CTA number, it will most likely trigger multiple times. So it's really far better to get your goal for the day on the way to the target. Now, if you're not a member and not on a trial, this broadcast is open to the public. So we're going to walk through each one of these individual markets here in a few minutes. So if you want to grab a screenshot, go ahead and do that. There's the top part, there's the bottom part. We're going to walk through every one of these to see exactly what happened. Okay. All right. But before we do that, ten things you need to know today, January the 13th, Friday the 13th, 2023. Number one, from the New York Times. Attorney General Merrick Garland on Thursday appointed a special counsel to review President Biden's handling of classified material after his time as vice president under former President Barack Obama. Garland assigned the job to Robert Hur, a veteran prosecutor who worked in the Trump administration, after Biden's personal attorneys found small sets of documents with classical markings at a Washington think tank Biden set up. I know that's such an oxymoron, but after his vice presidency, and now at his residence in Wilmington, Delaware. Hur said in a statement he would conduct his investigation with fair, impartial, and dispassionate judgment. Biden said he was cooperating fully and completely, according to the New York Times. A different special prosecutor appointed by Garland is overseeing two investigations into former President Donald Trump. It's quite amazing. We've had a new president for 2 years, but the headlines are still about the previous president. Now, number 2, this will blow your mind. Wall Street Journal. Inflation falls for 6th straight month. The Consumer Price Index, a key inflation gauge, fell to an annual rate of 6.5% in December, its 6th straight monthly decline. That's according to the U.S. Labor Department. The December rate was down from 7.1% in November and a peak of 9.1% in June. On a monthly basis, prices fell 0.1% in December. The core CPI, which excludes food and energy prices, because I mean, come on, who needs food and who needs energy, right? Rose by 5.7% last month from a year earlier. December figures were in line with expectations. Declining gas prices and airfares helped nudge down inflation, boosting hopes that the Federal Reserve is on track to continue slowing its aggressive campaign of interest rate hikes intended to cool the economy and bring inflation down. Number 3 from Reuters. Ukraine said Friday that its forces are continuing to hold out against a Russian offensive in the eastern salt mining town of Soledar, one of the bloodiest battlefields in the war. The fight for Soledar, which has resulted in heavy casualties for both sides. Ukraine says Russia has thrown waves of soldiers into the fight for what is now a bombed-out shell of a town. Moscow appears to be determined to secure its first major battlefield victory after months of humiliating setbacks. Its forces have had to retreat from several areas they once occupied in the face of an unexpectedly strong Ukrainian counteroffensive. The Wagner ultra-nationalist mercenary company, run by an ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin, has said it has occupied the town. Now, who's telling the truth? Washington Post, number 4. A large tornado tore through central Alabama on Thursday, killing at least 6 people. Our thoughts, hearts, and prayers are with the friends and family of those people. The tornado destroyed buildings and knocked down trees and power lines, cutting power to hundreds of thousands of people. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey declared a state of emergency in 6 counties. The twister was part of a wave of severe weather throughout the South that was driven by a powerful cold front sweeping across the eastern United States with warm, humid air ahead of it. Authorities reported dozens of tornadoes in Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, and parts of Florida, South Carolina, and North Carolina were placed under tornado watches. Number 5, Wall Street Journal. The International Atomic Energy Agency is scheduled to travel, their chief, Rafael Grossi, is scheduled to travel to Ukraine next week as the United Nations nuclear watchdogs deploy international inspectors at the country's South Ukraine, Riven, and Kimmel. Nuclear power plant threatened with disaster since Russia invaded in February. Power lines at the latter 2 plants were knocked out in November missile strikes, prompting warnings of a potential nuclear disaster. The agency also will deploy inspectors at Chernobyl, scene of the world's worst nuclear disaster in 1986. If you've never seen that miniseries about Chernobyl on Netflix, it's kind of slow and plotting, but it will really give you a good idea about what life is like in Russia. With a possible new Russian offensive looming, Grossi plans to put 2 or 3 inspectors in the sites which remain under Kiev's control. The IAEA has a rotating team of experts at the Russian-occupied nuclear plant, Europe's largest since September. Number 6, Associated Press attorneys made opening statements Thursday in the seditious conspiracy trial of former Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio and 4 lieutenants from the far-right group. Assistant U.S. Attorney Jason McCullough said the Proud Boys, determined to keep then-President Donald Trump in power, decided to launch a coordinated attack on the heart of our democracy and join the January 6th Capitol riot. That's 2021. That's over 2 years ago. To prevent the peaceful transition of power to President Biden. McCullough showed jurors a video clip from the first 2020 presidential debate in which Trump said the Proud Boys should stand back and stand by. Defense lawyers said there was no evidence of a Proud Boys plot, accusing prosecutors of trying to build a conspiracy that simply does not exist. Number 7, from Reuters, nearly twice as many Americans believe in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories and tropes now than in 2019, according to an Anti-Defamation League survey released Thursday. You always got to wonder with these surveys, who did they survey? Anyway, Reuters reported that about 85% of respondents expressed belief in at least one anti-Jewish trope, up from 61% in 2019. 20% believe 6 or more such tropes, up from 11% in 2019. Reports of anti-Semitism have increased nationwide in recent years. The problem received attention recently when former President Donald Trump hosted the rapper Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West, so I guess it's Ye, and white supremacist Nick Fuentes at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida. Ye had recently faced criticism over several anti-Semitic remarks. Trump said Fuentes showed up uninvited at his dinner with Ye. Number 8, from Politico, new Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen, Republican, on Thursday, appointed his predecessor, former Governor Pete Ricketts, to the Senate seat vacated by former Senator Ben Sasse on January 8th, when he resigned to become the new president of the University of Florida. Pillen said he had interviewed 9 Republicans for the vacancy and chose Ricketts because he believes he will win a special election for the seat in the fall and a full term in 2026. Pillen said, "I don't believe in placeholders. Ricketts is the Nebraska GOP's most established figure." Aaron Blake writes at the Washington Post, after a 2-decade turnaround, in his first run for office in 2006, he lost a challenge to then Senator Ben Nelson, 64% to 36%. And number 9, thousands of New York City nurses ended a 3-day strike on Thursday after their union reached a tentative contract deal with Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan and Montefiore Medical Center in the Bronx. The nurses walked out Monday demanding better staffing and working hours. The deal grants a raise of 19.1% over 3 years and creates 170 new nursing positions to address a staffing shortage that was exacerbated by the pandemic. The New York Times reported that Nancy Higgins, president of the New York State Nurses Association, said the nurses went on strike for patient care. Montefiore said this strike impacted everyone, not just our nurses, and it tried to resolve the dispute quickly. So that's good news. And the sad one, number 10. I'm so shocked when I heard this last night. Singer and songwriter Lisa Marie Presley, the only child of Elvis Presley, died yesterday after going into cardiac arrest at her home in Calabasas, California. Her mother, actress Priscilla Presley, announced in a statement that she was 54. Presley attended the Golden Globes on Tuesday to see actor Austin Butler win for his portrayal of her father in the film Elvis. Her personal life made her famous. She was the daughter of the king of rock and roll and also married to the king of pop, Michael Jackson, from 1994 to 1996, before she made her own musical mark with 3 studio albums. Fellow singer Leanne Rimes tweeted, "I hope she is at peace in her dad's arms." Our thoughts and prayers are with the Presley family. Okay, let's do the charts. Okay, so before the market opened, we told you we were at major support and that the next major resistance would be the high of yesterday, then the high of December 15th, and then the 50% reverse fib. And in that post that I showed you from the discussion group, we also identified where support was. Low of the day, 38% reverse fib, low and climbing, and the daily BBC. BBC stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses below it, we're bearish and anticipate lower prices. When price crosses above it, we're bullish and we anticipate higher prices. The red and blue indicator, I refer to it as simply red and falling, blue and climbing, for what I hope would be obvious reasons. And so we're in sort of a sideways standoff here as we head into the weekend. Okay? We've not taken out the step line, and we've not taken out the high of yesterday. And what a chart looks like this, well, you heard Michael say it was the first red day he's had in, I don't know, I think he said over a year. Now, trend trading or counter trend trading, and everything I say about the S&P E-mini daily chart applies to all markets and all time frames. That includes every futures market, individual stocks, cryptocurrencies, forex pairs, from a 1-minute chart to a monthly chart, and everything in between, tick charts, range charts, because price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. That's how we were able to identify major support. Now, at the time I posted that, we had a red candle all the way down to the step line. Just go in the discussion group and see the chart yourself. You have access to it whether you're on the trial or whether you're a member. Okay? Institutional traders, the hedge funds of the world, the Goldman Sachs of the world, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. It is the institutional money that moves price. Why? Size matters. Their accounts are denominated in hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. The typical retail trader's account is denominated in thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. Basically, retail traders provide liquidity for the institutions. So, it's a real good idea, no matter what market you trade, to spend 2 minutes looking at the daily chart before you start trading. Because you know where, in just 2 minutes, you'll be able to identify major support, 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 and you'll be able to identify major resistance. High of the day, high of yesterday, high of the 15, 50% reverse fib. Okay, so whether you trade gold or silver or Walmart or Amazon or Ethereum or the British pound, price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. if you can get your mind wrapped around that concept, you'll find that your trading results will be much different. Now to the question of trend trading and counter trend trading, let me ask you a question. Have you ever flown a kite? Maybe not since you were a little boy, but chances are everybody in the audience has at some point flown a kite. When you go out to fly your kite, which way do you try to launch your kite? Against the wind or with the wind? If the wind is blowing westerly, do you try to fly your kite in an easterly direction? Probably not. Maybe if you're an adventurer, you've been on a kayak trip before. So when you get to your destination and everybody piles onto the little bus, do they take you to the bottom of the river so that you can fight the rapids upstream, or do they take you in that little van up to the top of the river or the top of the hill so that you can ride the rapids down, going with the flow? You can choose to trade counter trend if you want. If you want better results, then trade with the trend. It's entirely up to you. The vertical line here on the 30-minute roadmap chart. The vertical line separates today, Friday, from Thursday, from Wednesday. Back over here it'd be Tuesday, Monday. Okay. When price rallies up to a weekly zone, we expect resistance. When price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support, 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 until price finally trades through a zone. Price is always trying to get to a zone. From the moment the market's open, Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, till they close Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, if price is above the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. If price is below the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. It's really that simple. You had a leg up, you had a retracement to the BBC, the pullback holds more often than not, and there's a week's worth of points in that candle right there. Now, the CTA numbers that I encouraged you to take a screenshot of earlier, if you remember on trial, you already have them. You had them last night at 6:10 p.m. Eastern. Price ran up to red and falling, which we expect to be resistance, and it was. We traded through the BBC, right down to the weekly zone, which we expect to be support, and it was. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing, and we got just shy of this high and reversed. That shows weakness in the market. And so as price traded through the weekly zone, I mean, you could have got your goal for the day here or here on the way to the target. Now, we hit the target and we bounced, and then we traded through the target. $39.86 down to $39.61. 86 to 66 would be $1,000 per contract traded. So you could have just got your goal for the day, either here, 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 or if you're swinging for the fences, you could have traded down to here. And when the market started to print green and turn up, you take your profit. Okay? This is a business based on probabilities. If you try to make it anything more than that, you will never succeed as a trader. Period. If you're still looking for that holy grail where you'll never have to get stopped out again, you'll never succeed as a professional trader. Professional traders do not waste time or money looking for something that cannot exist, something that defies the laws of science, physics, and even God. No one knows what's going to happen next in the market. No one. No indicator, no oscillator, no algorithm, not nobody, not nowhere, not know how. But using our methodology and strategy and our simple set of indicators, you can always know what the next high probability move is. When price dropped, now notice as price moved up, it was resistance, resistance, resistance. Once we got through the zone and pulled back and found support at the zone, and what a beautiful opportunity all the way up to the zone overhead. Price is always trying to get to a zone. Below the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. Does it always manage to get there? No. Buyers came in early here before we hit this low. Why? Well, the last time price traded here, look what happened. And so as price approaches this area, a buyer, a trader that got left behind and missed this move yesterday and got called on the carpet in front of his boss, he's not going to risk that happening again. Okay? Keep it that simple. Here's the Dow. Looks a lot like the ES. Here's where the market opened. We ran up to the zone. And red and falling, both of which we expect to be resistance, and they were. And they sent us down, and then we came back up and tested the zone again. And then once price got below the BBC, we ran right down to the target, traded through the target, got back above the number, and then traded down to the final trade to target. From 34,120 to 340.50, 70 points, $50 a point, $350 per contract traded. Or, once price closed below this resistance here, you could have just got short on this candle and been done for the day. Once price got back above the BBC, you could have just got long, got your goal for the day on the way up to where you expect there to be resistance. Only three things happen at a weekly trading zone. 70% of the time, it's going to be consolidation. 20% of the time, rejection. 10% of the time, the slice. That's when price slices through a zone like it's not even there. When that happens, price will typically retrace to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction up the slice. Target first, entry second. And I know for some reason that just totally confuses people, but book a mentoring session, I'll try to help you understand it. Here we go. Market's open. We got blue and climbing directly above price. That tells us that blue and climbing is probably going to turn into red and falling, and it did. So you don't want to go long into potential resistance. So price pulls back to the BBC, catches a little rally. Okay, there's a room to get your goal for the day here, sure. Then price gets below the BBC and goes right to the target. And then price gets back above the BBC and goes right to the target. On the NQ, same thing. Market opened, got red and falling overhead. Certainly don't want to go long. Once price gets below the BBC, just this candle right here. It opened at 494 and dropped to 471. That candle there is over $400 per contract traded. If you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts per the blueprint, that's $4,000 in that candle. So then price gets above the BVC, but it can't overcome the obvious resistance. So you simply wait for price to get back below the BVC. You have this candle open here at 11,489. 11,489, and it drops to 11,445. I mean, just this one candle from 489 down to 459. That's 30 points in this candle. At $20 a point, that's $600 per contract traded. And then this candle opened at 474. From 474 to 445, it's $600 per contract traded. And then we traded through it, got back above it, traded down to the final trade to target. Crude oil never made it to the short CTA target, but when price got below the BBC and got below red and falling, this candle right here opened at 78.17 and dropped to 77.97. $200 per contract traded in that one candle right there. And then we got above the BBC, we got blue and climbing. Then we pull back to the BBC, the pullback holds more often than not. And on this move almost made it to the target. This move made it to the target and then some. Gold. This is where the market opened. Came down to the zone, which we expect to be support. And this candle here opened at, we'll call it 1901 to 1908. That's $700 per contract traded. For the 10 contract trader, it's $7,000. Then price gets back below the number and triggers again. From 1908 up to basically 13, $500 per contract traded. Then back below and up again, and back below and up again. Then price gets below the BBC and it comes down right to the weekly zone, to the tick. Support, 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 support. Exactly what we would expect. So then we get above red and falling turns to blue and climbing. This candle opens at, what does it open at? 1905.2. So $280 per contract traded up to the target. And then once it traded through the target at 1908, it ran all the way to 1921. That's $1,300 per contract traded. Silver. A 2-penny move is worth $100 per contract traded. So we come down to the zone, find support, catch a bounce, come back down again. This time we trade through the zone. And where the bullish cross took place, follow the horizontal line on the cursor. Why did price stop before CTA? It's right there. To the tick. Whenever you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area, it will almost always be support. Same is true of a bearish cross. Okay. So not only is that why price stopped there, but it's also why the CTA number was below the bullish cross, because we expected that area to be support. So we have to put the CTA number below that for those who are going to choose to use it for an entry, as opposed to just, grabbing your goal for the day and put the mouse away. Back above the BBC, we ran all the way up to the target. Scandal opened at 23.91. It ran to 24.15. That's 24 pennies. That's $1,200 per contract traded. But it kept going. First time up, you couldn't get through this previous resistance. You should expect it to struggle to get through this double top. So it pulls back, makes another run, and the second time it gets through. And it looks like it's going to try to make it up to the next weekly zone. Remember, price is always trying to get to a weekly zone. The euro. This is where the market opened, and then we dropped right to the target and traded through the target. Goal for the day, and then some. And the final market, bonds. We made a run at the target. Didn't get there the first attempt, but there was enough movement to give you your goal for the day. And then we had a short-lived move towards the lower target, which failed, but still offered profit. Then price gets back above the BBC and it runs right to the target. And that's the truth about trading. It can be as hard or as simple as you want to make it. It's your trading business, and it's entirely up to you. Back to the daily chart. Nothing's changed. To become a member, go to eminifuturestrading.com. 2 mouse clicks, you'll become a lifetime member. No recurring fees, no upsells, no new shiny objects to buy, ever. It's your all-access pass to everything we do, everything we've ever done, and whatever we do in the future. Am I saying in 5 years, if we roll out some kind of new thing, that you won't have to pay any more money for that? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No recurring fees, ever. No new shiny objects to buy. Once you become a passport holder, you have access to everything we do, everything we've ever done, and whatever we do in the future. You also have lifetime access to the live training room. 9 out of 10 new traders fail just because they don't have a teacher. Michael teaches you every morning in the live training room in an interactive environment where you're encouraged to ask as many questions as you possibly can think of, because it's rules-based trading in the live training room, and you must master that before you start trying to become a discretionary trader. And you don't have to ever become a discretionary trader. You can simply trade the mechanical model wherever. 2 points a day out of the S&P is $100. 10 ticks out of crude or gold is $100. 20 points in the Dow is $100. By the time you earn the right to trade 5 contracts, those same 2 points are now worth $500 a day. And when you earn the right to trade 10 contracts, now we're at $1,000 a day. $1,000 a day puts you in the top 3% of wage earners worldwide. But don't take my word for it. Take the free trial. No credit card required. We invest in you so that you can make an intelligent decision if you should invest in yourself. Because it might be you just don't have what it takes to become a trader. We'll help you find out during those 5 trading days. You could start on a Saturday, on a Wednesday. You'll get 5 consecutive days in the room with access to every tool, every resource, everything we have. The only thing you won't have access to is the members only workshop until you become a member. You will have unlimited access to private one-on-one mentoring. The strategy you learn and the indicators you own for life, work with futures, stocks, crypto, forex. You don't change your rule. You don't change any settings on any of the indicators, because price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. And I know it's difficult to believe that. Why don't you just watch the markets for a while and you'll see every market flows the same. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance. The weekly trading zones that you saw on the charts, we've been publishing those for our members since December 14th of 2009. So we have over 13 years of data as to how price behaves around the weekly zone. Guess what's changed over those 13 years? Absolutely nothing, because they're based upon the underlying principles of which markets operate. As a lifetime member, you'll have lifetime access to the weekly trading zones every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, except when there's a holiday, and then it'll be Tuesday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. You'll also receive the Logic 247 alerts around the clock, which have an entry, an initial target, a second target, a third target, sometimes a fourth, a fifth target, a sixth target, and then a final trade to target. You'll receive the concierge trade alerts. It's a static report published every evening shortly after the Globex Open. Everything a trader needs, one low price, all under one roof. Instead of trying to, patch together a little something from over here and a little something from over here and a little something from over here, why try and reinvent the wheel? As you see in the live training room every day, the wheel we have works just fine. And as you see from the results of the concierge trade alerts and the Logic 247 alerts, those work just fine too. Now the Logic alerts and the CTAs, it's tempting, I know, to just trade those and make your money and never have to actually put in the work to learn how to trade. If you choose to go that way, someday you'll regret that choice. Because don't you want to become self-sufficient? Don't you want to have a life where you don't need anybody to tell you when to get in or when to get out? I mean, the chart tells you everything you need to know, especially when you lay our simple, humble indicator set on it. So, encourage you over the weekend, if you've been on the trial, go here, become a lifetime member. If you have any questions, call Valerie, 949-42-EMINI, or send an email to support@cfrn.net. Good word for the day. Yesterday we talked about meditation, meditate, percolate. We're going to keep talking about it. Psalm 119:15. I meditated on your precepts and consider your ways. Let's take this meditate, percolate idea a step further. If you're a tea drinker, substitute the word brew for percolate. Maybe this will help you ease into meditation instead of feeling overwhelmed by the thought that you don't have the time or discipline to do it. This is not an all or nothing challenge. Take small steps. If you have only 10 minutes, maximize each one of them. You don't have to read 10 chapters of your Bible. You're not doing a book report for school, and you're not going to be graded on a test. God's Word is so rich with truths that you can take one verse, one phrase, or one idea and let it percolate and brew in your mind, whether you have 10 minutes or 2 hours. Instead of watching TV or constantly checking your phone for messages, just sit still. Drink your coffee or your tea and let God's indwelling spirit interpret, enlarge, and enrich His Word as you roll it over and over in your mind. Think about it when driving or during lunch or your coffee break. Some days you will feel like you have hit the jackpot spiritually. Other days, you'll feel like you have added a little more to your basic Bible knowledge. But the key here is consistency. Move slowly from one verse to the next, meditating and considering God's ways as you go. Do this for 1 year, and you will have 365 scriptural insights to draw on. Can you see how this could change your life for the better? And as you know, I highly recommend Daily Audio Bible. Brian's been reading the Bible to us now for more years than I can remember. You can put the app on your phone, or you can just use your browser to go there. Every day, in 20 minutes, you'll get a little Old Testament, a little New Testament, some Psalms, and some Proverbs. And in 1 year, you will have covered the entire Bible from cover to cover, investing just 20 minutes a day. Give it a shot. I think you'll like it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell. But since I can't find my bell, I'll just say ding, like I normally do. Have a great weekend, guys.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.